Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome to another Trilogy review. Today I'm going to be covering the Blade Trilogy, Blade, Blade 2, and Blade 3, which I got all of them basically only paying for one because I got 2 and 3 free at a garage sale basically when it was closing up, and then to complete the trilogy because I never owned any of them. I just had to buy the first one, which was $3, and there you go. Three movies, $3 technically. I like them getting right into it in order, so I like Blade the best, and this is after binging them this last time. Blade, Blade 2, and then Blade 3. Beforehand, I remember liking the second one much better than the first one from my recollection, but rewatching the first Blade, man oh man, that movie does wonders with the concept and really not taking the cheesy road and corny road when it comes to comic book films. And being that this is like a Marvel product and origin story, and being what Marvel is, especially today in this day and age, this is really a breath of fresh air having the R rating and having Wesley Snipes as an amazing Blade. Not to take anything away from my predictions of Mahershala Ali being the next Blade, which I'm sure he's going to just absolutely destroy it in a good way, of course. In an amazing way, I mean. But yeah, Blade just blew me away this time. I mean, this is the best viewing that I and best experience that I've had with this film. Might upgrade to the 4K on this one. But it's such. I don't know what I was missing from it the last time. Like, I never disliked it. I just found the pacing a little bit slower in the last viewings that I watched it, and it didn't really like keep me on the edge of my seat like it did a lot of other people. But in this viewing, it absolutely did. Everything was paced perfectly. This is what I mean by like what was I missing before. But the story's great. Everything they do with the lore of the atmosphere, the introduction of Blade, his history, and all that. The story with his mother, the backstory, obviously. Whistler is absolutely amazing, played by Chris Christophman. Chris Christophman. I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, guaranteed, but he's badass, and he's one of the best characters in comic book history. Not taking away anything from Blade, obviously, but he's Chris Christophman playing Whistler is awesome, and and yeah, and the female lead in this one, Karen, the character Karen, I forget the actress's name, but actress's name, is is just great. I love the hospital scene right at the beginning with the attack on her, where Blade comes to rescue her. The whole him looking at her and being reminded of his mother. I love how him and Whistler protect her, and I love what they go forward to do protecting her. Stephen Dorff is basically Stephen Dorff as always. He's not a bad actor, but he's definitely caricatured, I would say. Like he's typecast, really. And even when he does like dramatic roles or action roles or comedy roles in the few times that he's done, he's always typecasted as like you always see Stephen Dorff, which I don't know. You could take that as a positive or negative, but I'm not like putting down his skills because he definitely fits the part and he definitely plays a cocky kind of love hate villain, you could say. The scene at the end where you get the mother coming back and the mother basically turns from the sorrow filled hero and what Blade has mourned this whole time to the villain, and how much torment and trauma that portrays, and how much Blade portrays that torment and trauma, seeing his mother for the first time since ever, really, since he was born. So he wouldn't even remember her outside of pictures and shit. But that whole scene was played out well. All the action scenes are superb. I love the like not post credit scene, but like epilogue scene at the end in Russia. That was played beautifully, and it's definitely a very obvious classic that I can't take anything away from. I gave it 4.5 stars. Blade 2 was directed by Guillermo del Toro, and I only found that out a little bit later. I've watched this movie for years, and I've always loved it. But I didn't know it was directed by Guillermo. And really, really good. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. It was really close to a 4.5, so it's really, really high on the 4-star. But I don't know, just because, maybe it's because I watched these two back to back, and the first one blew me away so much as a solo project, like it could have been its own film, that this one, although it did a lot of things to really enhance the story and make it bigger, it absolutely did. Even with the monsters, I love do they call them Reapers? The hybrid vampires. They look great. They start to go a little bit more like 30 Days of Dark Vampire. And they're really, really menacing villains. And the action scenes are superb again. A little bit heavy on the CGI, and the CGI, dates the movie a little bit because of the time that it was made. But the characters are great. I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who plays Scud, the Walking Dead guy, the Boondock Saints guy. Jeez, it's killing me. It's back here, thankfully. Norman Reedus, there you go. I was thinking Needus for some reason. Norman Reedus is a good character. Oh, Luke Goss is in here too. I wouldn't have even known. Just looking at the back of the case, I realized Luke Goss is in here, and I just remembered doing my Death Race review series, if anybody wants to check that one out too. But Norman Reedus is great, and Ron Perlman. Fuck, the guy's amazing, Ron Perlman. He's badass in everything he's in. I don't care what role he plays, he's just so badass in absolutely everything he does. So, outside of the dated CGI, the action scenes are really, really like spread out evenly. This film never misses a beat when it comes to action, and Blade is himself as always, and the nightclub scenes, just like I forgot to mention in the first film, that whole famous nightclub scene, and that song "Confusion" by New Order. In case anybody didn't know the name of it, that's what it is. Everybody's always like the Blade techno song. They played this "Blood Is Pumping" in here too by, I believe, Voodoo and Serrano. I'm a former DJ, so these are little tidbits that I know from the industry. Really good stuff, and really good atmosphere, and really good conclusion, and everything that you loved about the first, this one just enhances. And Chris Christopherson is back as well, which was surprising to see. I don't know if I would say it's far-fetched. I don't know if I would say, like, is it necessary? Obviously, I'm not going to complain because it's freaking Whistler, but just because of his death in the first film and how final it was, it felt a little bit forced to bring him back as a full character. Although, like I said, I'm definitely not complaining about it at all, because he's so fucking good in it. So yeah, it's good stuff. I hope I got all the actors here: Perlman, Reedus, Luke Goss, who I didn't even recognize Luke Goss in here, to be honest, till I read this. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's good in that, and it's a phenomenal film that I don't take anything away from. I just like the first film a slight bit better. And then we had Blade Trinity, which I was always on the defender of back in the day. I've only watched it like a couple times, and I could tell that it's not as strong as the first two, but I never hated it. And I didn't hate it this time either. But it almost got a 2, but I gave it a 2.5 because I did like a lot of things in it. I love the scene in the goth store where Drake, like everybody's fucking with Drake, and in the store, and the girl's like, we're selling vibrators and shit, and then that guy is like, hey, dude, she's talking to you, and he's like, what's the matter, you want to kiss me, pretty boy? The thing I hated about this film the most is the humor. The humor sucks in this movie. It tries, it doesn't land. For me, anyway, none of the humor landed. Not even Ryan Reynolds and all his one-liners and all his jokes and all his fucking comedic timing doesn't land and doesn't fit the film. They packed way too much humor and way too much like goofy nerd humor and comic book cheesiness. Like, this started to really feel mid-2000s when it comes to comic book film. The humor was just too much. Like, there's the subway scene where those kids are like, come on, man, I just gotta eat somebody. What's wrong, man? Just pick someone already. Fuck, like, holy shit. Why don't you go for the fat guy? No, fat guys taste like Cheetos. It's like, did they pass the writing on to a high schooler? Like, what the hell happened here? The first films were so epic in their writing, but... anyways, positives. I'm talking about positives of this film. That store scene was hilarious. And, hey, I'm not even gonna lie. A lot of people shit on the villain on this one. I'm a defender of the villain. I think, he... I don't know much about the actor. I don't know, like, anything else he's been in. I think he was on Prison Break, I heard, but, like, bringing Dracula into a Blade film is already an awesome idea in itself. But he's not menacing, but he's very scary in subtlety, I find. What I compared him to in the whole movie is Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. For anybody who's seen Dragon Ball Z, Frieza in his final form. He's not massive, he's not a monster, he doesn't have this long head like he did in the earlier forms. He's this straight up, like, scrawny, kind of circular head figure with a woman's voice, even though Frieza's supposed to be a male. And he's just, like, he's very great in agility. And this is what I saw in the Dracula villain in this movie. Now, he could obviously transform, as he does in the climax, into the Dracula form, which is terrifying. So the fact that he can go back and forth from this menacing monster to a everyday looking average middle-aged man, and how much strength he has, and how much strength you know he has. He doesn't have to display it, because he always walks around looking average, but even in the store, how he kicks everybody's ass, and how he kicks ass in general, and just his calm collectivity of evil. I'm a defender of it. I think it worked perfectly. Of course, the rooftop scene with the baby, and he tosses the baby to fucking Blade, and Blade's like, coo or whatever. Stupid ass shit, and Ryan Reynolds does great with what he was given, but it just doesn't fit the movie, and it just makes the movie silly. And the ending, I don't know what alternate ending I got, but it's apparently the alternate ending, or the ending that most people got, because I just put the film in. I didn't even pick an ending. I did watch the extended version, so maybe that's why. But it was the one where Blade gets up in the hospital bed and starts beating the doctors up, and then walks up to a woman and she's all scared, and then Ryan Reynolds' character starts narrating like, oh, it didn't stop his heart, it just slowed it down, so now Blade can wake up whenever he wants and continue fighting evil or something. It's so rushed. Like, what the fuck was that? But apparently there's 2 alternate endings too, so I should check them out and see which one I like better, and just keep in my mind that ending moving on forward. But yeah, that's the Blade movies. I'll keep them all. I like them all. I mean, the trilogy is good, even though the climax or the conclusion of the trilogy is not that great. But as of now, hands down, like, I was really impressed with the first Blade, and it was followed up amazing by Blade 2, but Blade wins for my preference. This one just below it. Like, if Blade was 94, then Blade 2 is like a 92 out of 100. Why out of 100? Because I hate decimals. And then this guy would be like a, I don't know, 46, 47, something like that. Yeah, that's the trilogy. So subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with more reviews soon. Check out what's on the channel. Subscribe if you're interested, and I look forward to the next Blade project coming from Marvel with Mahershala Ali. It should be fine enough with Mahershala Ali in it already. We'll just see how the production and the directing team takes it. So, until next review, have a good one, take care, and cheers.